back. Obviously Magnus still in the thing. We have 3 games left, but here's Nodirbek coming back after he has to contain himself and really just, all right, cool. Whew, man, that was what a game. Let me relax real quick. Sometimes you got to get up and walk around after a game like that.
Something I noticed that I don't think has been the case in, first of all the games, but certainly in the women's section, I didn't notice it as much, but handshakes between the players during the match. I like that. That feels natural to me. Even though the guy just beat you, you handshake before, like just as the player sits down and to start the game. So it's interesting just to see that, because you don't always necessarily do that when you're in the middle of a match, but lots of handshakes here and mutual respect as e4, d6 is on the board, and Magnus switching things up, James.
Ooh, a little Philidor. Okay. A little Philidor action. A little bit different approach. And it wasn't, it's still a lot of play, obviously, here with knight bd7. Yeah, you can go c6. The pawn structure I do like with Philidors when you have c6 and e5 played, because you control, obviously, d5, d4 with the pawn on e5. So really cool stuff there. I don't know, it didn't catch up. There we go. Bishop c5.
A reminder that in case you're just joining us, we have 2 finals in progress here. So we have the Open and the Women's, and we'll be covering 2 games at a time. And the games will never be concurrent, so we'll always be able to focus. This is game 2. Nodirbek, in amazing fashion, beat Magnus Carlsen in that last game and has taken an early lead in this matchup. But game 2 is underway, and Magnus is looking to bounce back with an unusual Pirc Defense play to start things off here.
Sort of, it came into like some type of Philidor, Pirc, all the same stuff. I even see Rook a6 being an idea later on. Bishop d2.
Yeah, the A pawn is targeted here with bishop d2. It really encourages the move a4. I would probably assume that that's going to be played, but perhaps the reaction there, you're either going to just leave it completely, play queen e2, rook e1, or you're going to fight back and try to claim some of that space with the move b4, perhaps taking back after a4 en passant, and then playing b4 later. So a lot of decisions here for Magnus. Does he want to play a4? I think that's the move he's going to decide. The move b6 seems to be met nicely by b4.
It's on Magnus. And there you go. What move? Did he play c6? Waiting for the okay.
He did play b6.
A4, take.
Bishop to f8.
Probably.
James, this position is in white's favor very clearly. There's a lot of pressure on e5, and the pressure on e4 can be dealt with. It is not to the same degree. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces attacking e5, and there's 2 defenders. So Magnus has got to make some big-time decisions here.
I guess we could sort of give up e5 because b4 is hanging with bishop takes b4 with too many pieces traded. Magnus is not happy, though, clearly. Bishop d6.
Not at all. E5 is a pawn that you could consider capturing here, but remember, there's going to be a lot of pressure on e4 afterwards. Knight takes d6 also gives a comfortable advantage with the bishop pair, but he's going to go straight in and capture on e5. I think this is also a move that you play knowing that a draw is a perfectly fine result. So the worst that can happen is Magnus equals the material back, and best case, perhaps some tactics even work here.
And of course, we get the pawn back very quickly, moving the knight, and the bishop takes b4. We get the pawn right back, but yeah, equal. It's kind of hard.
And now it's black's turn, James. Count up the attackers on e4. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. When that knight moves inevitably here, suddenly it's the e4 pawn that's going to be targeted, and most importantly, queen e7 also eyeballs b4. And the pressure on both the knight, the b4 pawn, and the e4 pawn is going to mean that Magnus should equal up the material. And Nodirbek is deep in thought here. I'm wondering if he's giving consideration to something crazy or if something... Okay, knight f3. I was wondering if he was going to go crazy with knight takes f7, which was a possibility, but this makes more sense and is much more controlled.
Very nice. Yeah, of course, not giving him too many chances. There was also a great gift available if knight to c4, trying to go back. Bishop takes h2, knight g4, and queen h4, which is a crazy idea. He didn't allow it, so he goes knight f3. So there will be no Greek gifts today. But queen h7 is a nice counterplay on the 7th rank for Nodirbek.
Yep. The knight covers the rook on e1, so no danger there at the moment. Bishop takes e4 looks likely, but if everything captures there, both sides have to be worried about back rank mate, and we may be liquidating to a draw here, James. It looks like that is the most likely result, but in this position, are we going to see rook takes e4? Are we going to see knight takes, or perhaps even something else if you take advantage of this pin? It's a very close game, but I think we're getting to equality as long as no one blunders something big with back rank mate involved.
And it's funny because rook takes e4. I think there's queen a8. Almost. There's actually, you have queen f8, luckily. Yeah, he's queen f8. Queen a8. 8, queen f8. Yeah, it's not enough. Looking around.
So I think queen b8 could be played. Force the queen back and then take c7. That's exactly what's happened, actually. And even if we trade on e1, I think at this point it is just equal. There's probably a number of moves you can play. Pawn to b5, knight d5, perhaps even queen c5, although that's the one I like the least. And b5 indeed. On the board by Magnus. We are in an equal position here, James. And I suspect we're not going to see anything too crazy happening.
Correct. Some look for the king and just shuffling. h3 or g3? Probably h3. Queen e5. Trade him.
Yeah, this looks like a trade. Black can station. Remember, you have to be a little nervous about this pawn, but the pawn can always reach b4 with the knight coming into d5. For sure, we are in a position that is going to be a draw, but we have to still get there, and we'll see how many more moves the players are interested in playing.
Yeah, it's funny. Nodirbek is interested in a lot more moves. That's just how he plays. Nodirbek is going to play this out for a while. Get the king up to the center. First plan. Get your king to the center. Activate your pieces as much as possible.
Yeah, the king is a bit ahead for Magnus, but there's also moves like knight g5 you have to worry about. If either king goes too far to the queen side, you're going to see the pawns on the other side of the board get targeted. And look at this. This is very interesting by Magnus. He is giving up that f7 pawn, and I do not think that he had to in that position, but I could have been wrong there with knight d4 and knight g5 both threatened.
What I like is he made him think here. It's a thinking situation. Like, do you really want to give it to c2 pawn and have the b pawn push like this? And he's like, yeah, you're right, king d2. But then after h6, he plays something else. Knight g4, same idea.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's just symmetrical. Hey, if you've got a threat, believe me, I've got the same one.
You got one, I got one. Same. Maybe f3 could be annoying. f3, knight takes h2. But the knight can come around to f1. So no real way around it. I'll take one, you take one. Same.
Yeah, I really don't see how this can work out to really any result except a draw. So far, so good. But with time pressure, we have seen an error in that previous game by Magnus. He will not want to repeat that.
Make sure we get all the pawns off, especially, listen, that c2 pawn is weak. Got to make sure we stay around it. That's why king d2 happens. Bringing the knight around, staying in range of the pawns and the king. Knight f5 coming next.
Yeah, but you have to keep moving the king back. Otherwise, king c3 and king takes c2. So I was going to say we might see a repetition there, but perhaps even looking for something a little bit more. Hang on a sec. King d1, there's knight e3.
Incredible.
Nodirbek shaking his head. Incredible. This is a significant blunder.
Incredible. I mean, if anyone can get it done, it's Magnus here. We just said you got to stay around the c2 pawn, and he found, or at least Magnus finds a way to create problems because of
unbelievable.
Unbelievable is the word.
Now, the knight is going to hang out on the f3 square. Magnus is giving a face. He knows what just happened. That was a swindle and a half. The king is going to promote this pawn and win the knight. The king takes on h6, and after knight f3, it's going to be winning for Magnus Carlsen.
He gets the king around, and maybe king c1. There it is, and pushing right through.
Even if you sack the knight, it's not enough. Magnus knows he
You are
got
not
away
able
with
to
one,
know.
James. Incredible.
Yes, SE Queens. King does not get around in time to be able to get anything.
There is knight to
Knight
g5,
G5.
which will be sufficient.
Wow!
And Magnus,
The scoreboard.
unbelievable that he won that endgame. Dead draw is not in Magnus Carlsen's vocabulary. Did not work for him last game playing on. He does the same thing again